Hi, and welcome back to Purple Collar Life. In today's video, we will be taking our new PowerMax snowblower out of the box and assembling. Now, if you're wondering what model this is model 39926. This is the 60 volt max battery powered PowerMax snowblower from Toro. And we've already opened the top of the box and it says, stop, read these instructions first. So the very first thing it says to do is take out these cardboard fillers on this end. And this one has one of our control rods in it. Nothing else in this one. Nothing else in this one. Step 2, leave the handle in place. Step 3, cut open the rear corners only. This end of the carton. Let's back the Ranger out of the way here to give ourselves some more workspace. Now I'm just using a pocket knife. This would be easier if you'd use a carpenter's knife, box cutter. Okay, once we have this down, it'll say open plastic bag and review owner's manual. For complete assembly instructions, we will need a 1/2 inch wrench, a 7/16 inch wrench, and a 3/8 wrench. And our owner's manual is zip tied onto the handle here. I'm going to cut those zip ties off. Alright, so the first thing I'm doing just to make it easier to get out of this crate is putting the handle up, but I'll need my, looks like 9/16. I did bring out some tools. I brought a pair of basic pliers, an adjustable wrench, and then my 1/2 inch, 7/16, and 3/8. Should have brought out my ratchet and gear wrenches. So I would recommend, if you have a set of gear wrenches, use those. It'll go a lot faster. And you want to keep the curve of the washer. There's a built-in curve towards the handle, so it kind of wraps around it. And you want to make sure the square is seated inside the edge of the handle here on the outside. Do the same to both sides. Okay, the first set of instructions in the book are to remove these 2 bolts that are holding this chute bracket on. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. I went ahead and put the handle up, and I've actually installed the second bolt. There are 2 additional bolts to go on the 2 sides. So I've started installing those, but then I see there's this one piece that is going to need to go through there, so I stopped that for now to go back and follow the instructions in order. And 7/16 on the bottom. It looks like once you get it loosened up just a little bit, we'll be able to turn it by hand. So we got those bolts out of here. Our next step is to remove these 2 bolts and take this bracket off. So I'm going to work on that next. And that looks like it is 7/16. And they're carriage bolts on one end, so you just need to loosen up the right hand side. So our next step, it was super easy. just line the chute up without this cable getting in the way and put the post on while lining up that chute. And then we're going to reuse these 2 bolts that we had taken out previously. And they line up with the bolt holes through the inner and the outer channel. Just like that. And like that. Then these nuts have the nylon lock section inside them. So again, this is a 7/16, but it would be much faster using a gear wrench or a ratchet wrench, socket wrench. So here you can see I put those 2 carriage bolts and nuts through. So now our handle is assembled, our chute is assembled. We're going to go ahead and wheel this thing down out of the box. Nice and easy. And then swivel it around here to work on the back. Our next step is installing what they're calling the traction control linkage. So the first thing we want to do is move our direction control to reverse and all the way to fast reverse. So I want to show you when we're making that adjustment, what's happening is this control piece has a block through it for the bolt. When we go forward, that comes all the way down to here. And when we go in reverse, it moves all the way up. So down here at the bottom, we have this directional control lever. And we've got this rod that came with the inside the box. We're going to pull the little cotter pin out, put the rod through, put the cotter pin through the back, and then the top piece we're going to connect to this directional control we just moved. Now at this point we are going to rotate this all the way forward, and there you can see this thing came down. We'll take our pin off of here. Sorry, my hand's in the way, but there's the rod, there's the pin. We're going to take one of the 2 washers off. We'll go through, put the other washer on the back, hold it while we put the pin in. Now we should be in place. So there's a better look at how that looks. Pin, washer, plate, washer, rod, connected all the way down here to the drive control. And what will happen is when we pull this handle, you'll see that that moves up and down. Our next step, step 5 in the instructions, installing the chute control rod. We're going to need 2 carriage bolts and nuts, 1 of the small ones, and this rod that was in the box. Remove all this bubble wrap that's around this end and the yellow protective piece. Now you can see there is an angle to this, so we've got an angle out and an angle out. You want to line those up. But first, put this end of the rod into the chute. Get ourselves lined up here. So then we use our 7/16 once again to tighten these up. You can see how I placed the notches into each other so that it makes a straight shaft. Okay, now we want to test the chute operation. You need to push this button down, swiveling left and right, one hand, and up and down, one hand, You can do multiple things at the same time thanks to the Toro Quick Chute. And we'll talk in a future video about how to use this and some of the really nice features. I can already know that I'm going to be using this heated hand warmer a lot. That's going to be great. We have one nut and bolt left in the kit, and they are going to be used to attach this cable to the quick stick control. Now I wish this was a little bit shorter carriage bolt, because that's going to have a lot of thread sticking out here. I guess you could cut it off, but it would be nice if it wasn't quite that long for just holding this little clamp on. Our next step is to check the inflation of the tires on both sides. They should be between 17 and 20 psi, and you want them to be the same. So if this side's at 18, you want that side to be at 18 so that they track properly and you go straight when you're trying to go straight. Another thing you want to do before you use the snowblower is set your skid plate height. So these are adjustable. Right now it is set with clearing as low as it'll clear. Obviously, if we're going to do our driveway, we will put those skids down as much to give us a little bit more clearance so that we don't pick up as many rocks in our gravel driveway. That was a very easy assembly. It did not take very long at all. I still need to remove these marketing pieces and some plastic wrap, and then I've got the batteries in boxes. I need to take those inside and charge them up, and then we'll be doing a future video on how to operate this and, you know, blowing some snow with it, assuming we ever get any snow here in Northwest Pennsylvania. This has been a very weird winter. We normally get a lot of lake effect, Lake Erie snow. This winter I haven't had to plow or snow blow one time. I think it's because we have the new snowblower. Thanks for watching. If this video informed or entertained you, we'd really appreciate if you give us a thumbs up. Leave those comments down below. Tips for others who are assembling their Toro electric 60-volt snowblower. I'm going to take those batteries in and show you how I connect them to the chargers, and then the next time you see us with the snowblower, we'll be blowing some snow. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again the next time.